let's say I'm a very local emergency manager. I need to work with my mayor, or I even need to work for the state. As somebody who has so much experience and really great at building those relationships, you just talked all about relationships. That's the entire job, right? How
Yep.
do I start from the ground one? How do I start with working with people who, you know, don't necessarily like me? They think I'm a doomsday prepper, right? Like they don't really understand what emergency management is. How do you do that? How do you switch?
Well, let me first start by saying that I take to heart that I'm a public servant. I work for the people of California. I work for the governor and our leaders that I have the privilege to work for here in Calawea. So, no matter if you're a public servant or part of a nonprofit, whatever it may be, you work for somebody.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, um, not that I set aside politics. Please don't get me wrong, but we're very fortunate here. We have outstanding programs. We have literature. We have a legislative staff that meets with all of our elected officials. We have key processes and training available, meetings. One of the great things that we've done is we've built relationships with the League of California Cities and the California Association of Counties,
Mm.
and really building those relationships. But I can just give you a recent examples. Working in the coastal region as the lead state official for emergency response, I did interact with significant amount of senators, assembly members, congressional members, local politicians, mayors, so on. And at the end of the day, it's just building a trusted relationship. It really does get down to that.
Absolutely.
It is making sure that elected officials know who you are, know who to call. We can't stop by any means what an elected official at any level is going to say or do. Sometimes we try to be as proactive to help get them trained and help them understand the processes, the laws, and it's not just respectfully the elected official; it's all of their staff. And
Yeah.
we greatly respect their position. I'm used to saying honorable, and yes sir and yes ma'am, and I would say make sure that you use good, um, make sure you know how to even if, like, I'm really great friends with the tag here in California, David Baldwin, but
Mm.
he and I, hey Dave, what's going on, when we're in a private space. But when we're out and about, I always respectfully say, General Baldwin, yes sir, no sir. Yet we're good friends, and I would say that too. Make sure that you understand the titles, and the rules and laws, and it's just hoping having open, honest conversation and leveraging those individuals that you may have in your company or your jurisdiction that have greater legislative knowledge. There's a lot of wonderful programs. It's just like communications and public affairs. Sometimes you have a microphone shoved in your face, and even though your PIO shop says, don't speak on behalf of the agency, and believe me, I try. You can't say no comment, but what I would say is, look, I would love to talk to you, but there's someone that has so much more information and is ready for you to talk to right here, and that's our
Mm.
wonderful public information team. So not to defer or deflect, but um, getting to know those individuals, and sometimes it is reactionary. They've said something, they've done something, they want to jump into the environment that they face, and we work closely with them. But trying to build those relationships using your legislative affairs offices, having policies and procedures, having training for local leaders and politicians at all levels. I've gone to several congressional discussions and open forums that they've invited me to. So it's just really building. They're just people
Mm.
at the end of the day, and you may have a 180-degree difference with their position, but if you can just bring it back to, I'm here someone that can help support our people, and respective the animals. I mean, we've had great impacts to all of our animals, and you might say, well, why is that, Lee? Well, California's economy is driven significantly by the farming and agricultural business and livestock business as well. But
Mm.
at the bottom line, people love their pets. I love my pets. They're like family to me, and they're a part of that. So it's not just looking at the people; it's looking at the critical infrastructure. It's looking at, again, access and functional needs is critical. I think it's a key partner in us and all those underserved communities that we, again, we're public servants. And I mean, I have 40 million bosses, basically.
That's a lot of bosses.
My wife being number one.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah. Number one
Yeah.
taxpayer is your wife.
38 years of marriage, I've learned well.